"You're not family tonight," my mother said, through a 6-inch crack in the door, calm as someone declining a product sample at the grocery store. My father stood behind her holding his car keys, looking past me like I was a neighbor he barely recognized. My brother Charles was in the hallway wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent, scrolling through his phone, waiting for them to finish so they could leave. I'd just driven 3 hours to get here, and I wasn't even making it past the porch. "My name is Aaron Benjamin. I'm 32 years old, and I work as a logistics coordinator in Albany. Steady job, decent paycheck, nothing you'd write home about. For the last 3 years, I've been sending money to my parents who live 3 hours south. Mortgage payments, property taxes, car repairs, medical bills, whatever crisis came up that month. But I've never been the son they show off to their friends. That's always been Charles. He's a real estate agent with an expensive car and a social media feed that looks like a lifestyle magazine. When my parents need money, they call me. When they need someone to impress people, they call Charles. I learned a long time ago that being useful isn't the same as being valued, but I kept hoping if I just helped enough, stayed reliable enough, eventually that would change. It didn't. 7 days before I ended up on that porch, my mother called. Not about money this time, but about their 30th anniversary party. "We're finalizing the guest list," she said, her voice measured and careful. "This is going to be a very special evening for us. The Hendersons are coming." The Hendersons. I'd heard that name 100 times over the past year. My father's former business partner who made millions in some tech investments. My mother had been obsessed with reconnecting with them, calling them important people, and the kind of connections that matter. "Okay," I said. "What time should I get there?" Long pause. "Aaron, we've had to keep this really intimate. Very selective. I'm sure you understand." My chest went cold. "Are you saying I'm not invited?" "It's complicated," she said quickly. "Mr. Henderson is very particular about these social events. It's black tie, very high-end restaurant, a curated experience. And with your work schedule being what it is, we just assumed—" "Assumed what?" I cut in. "That I can't afford formal clothes? That I'll embarrass you?" "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "You're always busy with work anyway. This isn't personal, Aaron." But it was personal. It always had been. My father's voice came through the background, quiet and tired. "Let it go, son. It's just one dinner. We'll celebrate together another time." Another time that we all knew would never actually come. Later that night, Charles texted me, "Don't take it personally. Mom's just stressed about making a good impression on the Hendersons. I should have left it alone. But some stubborn part of me still wanted to prove I cared, so I ordered them an anniversary gift. Nothing flashy, just an engraved picture frame with a meaningful inscription about 30 years of marriage. I wrapped it carefully and paid extra for fast shipping. 3 days later, the box came back to my apartment, unopened. There was a note tucked inside in my mother's handwriting. "We already have too much." I stood there in my hallway holding that box, reading those 5 words over and over. Translation: Your gift doesn't match the look we're going for. Your effort doesn't fit the image we're building. But even after all that, some desperate, stupid part of me still hoped. I thought if I just showed up looking presentable, clean shirt, decent jacket, polished shoes, maybe they'd realize they'd made a mistake. Maybe the Hendersons wouldn't even notice I wasn't originally invited. Maybe I could just blend in and finally be part of something that's important to them. So Saturday evening, I got in my car and drove 3 hours south to their house. I pulled up at 7:45 p.m. I knocked. Charles opened it, looking sharp in a 3-piece suit, phone in his hand. His face shifted when he saw me standing there. "Aaron, what are you doing here?" "I came for the party," I said, keeping my voice steady. "What's the address?" "They already left, man." They told me you weren't coming. I never said I wasn't coming. Mom said I wasn't invited. Where's the restaurant? He glanced back toward the hallway, shifting his weight. Look, you can't just show up unannounced. Footsteps came from inside the house. My mother appeared in the doorway, wearing a champagne-colored dress I'd never seen before, hair professionally styled, jewelry glittering under the porch light. Her face went stiff the second she saw me. "Aaron, what are you wearing?" I looked down at myself. Khakis, button-down shirt, sport jacket, clean, appropriate. "I came for your anniversary." Her eyes moved from my face down to my shoes and back up, and I watched her do the math in her head, watched her decide. "Aaron, we discussed this. So I'll meet you there. Just tell me where it is." My father appeared behind her now, wearing a full tuxedo, car keys still in his hand. He looked at me, looked at my mother, said nothing. My mother stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was explaining something simple to a child who wasn't getting it. "This is a very high-profile evening. Mr. Henderson and his wife will be there. People from Charles's firm, people we need to impress. And you," she paused, choosing her words carefully, "you just can't show up like this." "Like what?" I said. "I'm your son. You're not dressed appropriately. You didn't confirm. And honestly, Aaron, tonight isn't about you. This is about our future, our network, the relationships we're building. I've been paying your bills for 3 years." Her expression hardened. "And we appreciate that. But this is about our image, our opportunities, the doors we're trying to open. You're not family tonight." The words hit me like a physical thing. "What?" "It's a private event, for the right people. You're not on the list." I stared at her, then at my father, who still wouldn't meet my eyes, then at Charles, who'd gone back to scrolling through his phone like this conversation was just an annoying delay. 3 people, polished, perfect, ashamed of me. "Understood," I said quietly. I turned and walked back to my car. Nobody called after me. Nobody said wait. The door closed before I even made it down the driveway. 3 hours back to Albany. I wasn't excluded because of limited space. I was excluded because I didn't look right. Didn't fit the story they were trying to sell to people like the Hendersons. Charles fit the image. Successful, connected, impressive. I was the utility son. Good enough to send them money. Not good enough to be seen with them. I got home just after 11:30 p.m., sat on my couch staring at my phone. Then it buzzed. Notification. "Charles, Benjamin posted a photo." I opened it. Golden restaurant lighting, expensive-looking private dining room, a banner hanging in the background. 30 years, Cole and Haley Benjamin. Front row, my parents, smiling bigger than I'd seen them smile in years, flanked by an older couple in designer clothes dripping with jewelry. Had to be the Hendersons. Behind them, Charles, Aunt Linda, Uncle Rick, 2 cousins I barely knew, 3 family friends from the neighborhood, 14 people total in the shot. I zoomed in on the background, 16 chairs at the long table, 2 of them are empty. The caption, "Family only, celebrating legacy and future. Benjamin legacy. Success, family first." Posted 15 minutes ago. Already had 94 likes. I stared at those empty chairs. Limited seating wasn't the problem. I was the problem. I screenshotted the photo, then opened my banking app and scrolled back through 3 years of transfers. $42,200 sent to mom and dad. Every payment came with a story. Every story ended in silence. I was good enough to fund their life, just not good enough to be seen in it. I clicked the comment box under the photo. My hands were steady when I typed, "Congrats on 30 years. Looks like an expensive celebration. For the record, the mortgage payment cleared Thursday. $2,100. Property tax due next month. But I'm sure family only can handle that now. I stared at the words for 5 seconds. Then I hit post. When I turned my phone back on, the screen lit up like an alarm. 7 missed calls from my mother. 4 from Charles. 1 voicemail from my father. Text from my mother. Delete that comment right now. Text from Charles. Dude, you're embarrassing them in front of the Hendersons. Voicemail from my father. Son, please. Mr. Henderson saw the comment. This isn't how we handle things. I refreshed Charles's post. My comment was gone. Then the entire photo disappeared. New text from my mother. You just cost your father a major business opportunity. I'm deleting your number until you apologize. I sat there holding my phone, waiting for the guilt to come. It didn't. For the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty. 2 weeks went by. No calls, no apologies, no, let's sit down and talk about this. Just silence. And for the first time in years, I didn't break it. I didn't send a text asking if we were okay. I didn't apologize for calling them out. I just let the quiet sit there. Instead, I started going through records, bank statements, payment histories, every text message thread where they'd asked for money. Not because I wanted revenge, I just wanted to understand. If I wasn't good enough to stand next to them in front of wealthy people, I needed to know exactly what I was good for. I pulled up 3 years of transfers on my laptop and started making a list. Month 1, $2,400. After I got a text from my mother. The mortgage payment is short this month. If we don't cover it by Friday, we could lose the house. Month 5, $3,200. Property tax deadline hit and the account is frozen. We're in a crisis here, Aaron. Month 9, $1,800. Your father's car broke down. He can't get to work without it. Month 14, $2,100. Medical emergency. Insurance won't cover the full amount and the bills are due. Month 18, $1,600. Charles needs help getting back on his feet. Just this once. Every single request came with urgency. Every thank you message was short and felt copy-pasted. You're a lifesaver, honey. We don't know what we'd do without you. And then nothing for weeks. Sometimes a whole month of silence, until the next bill came due. I sat back and stared at the screen. The pattern was so clear now that I wasn't scrambling to respond to the latest emergency. They only called when they needed something. The second the money cleared, I stopped existing. Then I remembered something my mother had said on the phone a few months back, something I'd ignored at the time. She mentioned they were restructuring some finances and that things were getting easier. I'd assumed it meant my father's work situation had improved, but now I wonder. I opened a new browser tab and typed in the county property records website. Public information. I entered their address and hit search. The page loaded. Current property owner, Cole Benjamin and Haley Benjamin. No surprise there. But then I saw the mortgage history section. Current mortgage. Opened 23 months ago. 30-year term. Previous mortgage, paid in full. Closed 24 months ago. I read it again and again. They'd refinanced the house 23 months ago. The original mortgage, the one my mother had been calling me about every month saying it was overdue, saying they'd lose the house if I didn't help. That mortgage had been paid off 2 years ago. I opened my banking app and scrolled back to the first mortgage emergency text. It was a full year before the original loan was even paid off, which meant for the first 12 months, maybe my payments actually did help. But after that, I pulled up a calculator and started adding. Every payment I'd made after the refinance cleared the old loan. Every dollar sent for a mortgage that no longer existed. The total came to $28,600. $28,600 sent for a bill that didn't exist. Out of the $47,200 I'd sent them over 3 years, more than half went straight into their pockets while they told me it was life or death. The first year, maybe those payments actually helped. Everything after that was a lie wrapped in urgency. And that money, my money, had funded what? A champagne-colored dress? Professional hairstyling? Jewelry I'd never seen before? A high-end anniversary party at an expensive restaurant to impress people like the Hendersons. I wasn't helping them survive. I was funding their image upgrade. My phone rang. It was Charles. I let it ring 4 times before I answered. "Hey man," he started, voice casual like nothing had happened. "Listen, I think things got out of hand the other night." I said nothing. "Mom's still pretty upset, but I think if you just apologize to her and maybe send a message to the Hendersons explaining it was a misunderstanding, we can all move past this." "When were you planning to tell me about the refinance?" I said. He paused. "What refinance?" "The house. You refinanced 18 months ago. The original mortgage got paid off 2 years ago. I've been sending mortgage payments for a loan that doesn't exist." Longer pause this time. "I don't know anything about that," Charles said, but his voice had shifted. Less casual now. "Dad handles all the financial stuff." "So you didn't know I've been funding Mom's designer wardrobe and Dad's networking dinners with money they told me was for emergencies?" "Look," he said, and now he sounded defensive. "They're trying to build something here. Relationships with people, like the Hendersons, don't just happen. It takes investment. It takes showing up the right way, looking the right way. And yeah, maybe they didn't tell you every detail, but you're supposed to help your family. That's what we do." "And what do you do, Charles? What's your contribution?" "I show up," he said, voice tight now. "I represent them well. I make them look good in front of people. That has value, Aaron. Just because it's not a check in the mail doesn't mean it's nothing." "You're right," I said. "It got you a seat at the table while I paid for the meal." He hung up. 2 days later, an email came through from my mother. I opened it. "Your outburst at the anniversary party cost your father a potential business partnership with Mr. Henderson. We have spent years rebuilding our reputation and our network, and you damaged it in one night. Family is supposed to protect each other, Aaron. Family doesn't sabotage. If you can't support what we're building, then maybe distance is better for everyone right now." My father left a voicemail that same afternoon. "Son, the Hendersons haven't returned any of our calls. Your mother put so much work into that evening. Please just reach out and smooth this over." Then Aunt Linda texted, "Heard there was some tension at the party. That doesn't sound like you. Everything okay?" The story was forming. I was the problem. I was the one who ruined their big night. I was the jealous son who couldn't handle them moving up in the world. I opened a blank email and typed one message. Sent it to both my parents and Charles. "I didn't ruin your night. I just stopped pretending. The refinance is public record. The mortgage you said was overdue every month got paid off 2 years ago. I have the county documents. I have 3 years of bank statements. I have every text where you said it was an emergency. You excluded me from your anniversary because I didn't fit the image you wanted to sell to the Hendersons. But you had no problem taking my money to build that image. If you want to talk, we do it in person with all the documents on the table. Otherwise, don't contact me." I hit send. Nobody replied. 3 months passed. Silence. I started sleeping better. Started saving money for the first time in years. Started realizing how much lighter life felt when I wasn't waiting for the next crisis call. Then one Tuesday morning, an email from my mother appeared in my inbox. "Your father's health is declining. Medical bills are overwhelming us. We need help, Aaron. I know you're still upset about the party, But this is serious. This is life or death. Please call me. I stared at the email, felt that old familiar pull, that instinct to respond, to fix, to help. But something made me open the county property website one more time. I typed in their address, the page loaded, status, active listing, listed 9 days ago. Listing agent, Charles Benjamin, they were selling the house. Moving? And they hadn't said a word. If you found out your family was lying about emergencies to fund their lifestyle, then secretly planning to sell and move without telling you, what would you do? Don't forget to hit subscribe for more stories like this. I clicked the property listing link. Professional photos loaded one by one. The living room looked different. Freshly painted walls, new furniture staged perfectly. The kitchen had granite countertops I'd never seen before. They must have renovated recently. The asking price was $340,000. I called the number listed on the page. A woman answered on the second ring, voice bright and professional. Good morning, Henderson Realty Group. This is Jessica. How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling about the Benjamin property listing. Is it still available? Yes, it is. Beautiful home. The family is very motivated. Are you looking to schedule a viewing? I'm just gathering information right now. Do you know why they're selling? They're relocating out of state, actually. Florida, I believe. Their son is the listing agent, so he's handling everything directly for them. Florida, 3,000 miles away. And nobody thought to mention it to me. What's the timeline? I asked. They're hoping to close within 60 days. Very eager to move. I thanked her and hung up. Standard real estate commission runs about 5 to 6%. On a $340,000 sale, Charles stood to make around $18,000 off a house I'd sent $47,200 to help maintain. A house they'd told me was always one missed payment away from foreclosure. The same brother who said I didn't represent them well in front of wealthy people was about to profit nearly $20,000 from my money. I opened my mother's social media profile, scrolled back through 6 months of posts. Most of it was the usual, motivational quotes, pictures of food, shares from other accounts. Then I hit March. Photo 1. My mother and father on a beach. White sand, turquoise water, tropical drinks with little umbrellas. Photo 2. Them in matching spa robes with cucumbers on their eyes. Photo 3. Sunset dinner on a restaurant balcony overlooking the ocean. The caption read, "Investing in ourselves after a hard year. Sometimes you have to step back and recharge. Grateful for this time together." I checked the post date, March 14th. Then I opened my text messages and scrolled back to that same week, March 2nd. Message from my mother. Aaron, your father's medication costs jumped to $400 this month, and insurance is refusing to cover it. We're completely stuck. Can you help? I'd sent $500 the same day. 2 weeks later, they were on a beach drinking cocktails. I screenshotted every vacation photo, every caption, every smiling, carefree moment. Then I matched each one to the payment request that funded it. I opened a new folder on my laptop, named it Benjamin Family Financial Records. Inside, I organized everything. 3 years of bank statements with every transfer highlighted. The county refinance documents showing the exact dates. The property listing with Charles's name as the agent. Text message screenshots where my mother used words like emergency, crisis, desperate. The vacation photos with timestamps. The email where she said I didn't fit their image. Then I sent them all a message. I see the house is for sale. Congratulations on the Florida move. I also noticed the vacation photos from March, right after you told me Dad's medication was unaffordable. I have the refinance records from the county. I have 3 years of bank statements. I have the text where you told me I wasn't family because I didn't impress the Hendersons. We're meeting Saturday at 10 a.m. at your house. All 3 of you. Bring the listing paperwork. We're settling this with everything on the table. The responses came fast. Charles, 2 minutes later. Aaron, this is crazy. Don't blow this up. My mother, 4 minutes later. You are being manipulative and cruel. We don't owe you an interrogation. My father, 6 minutes later. Son, the situation with the Hendersons is still delicate. Please don't make things worse. Still about the Hendersons. Still about image. Even now. I opened the group text thread and typed one sentence. Saturday, 10 a.m. Be there. Then I went into my phone settings and blocked their ability to call me. Texts only. I wasn't giving them a chance to talk me down, guilt me into backing off, or convince me this was all a misunderstanding. My mother sent 3 more texts over the next hour. This is family business, not a courtroom. You're going to regret handling it this way. Fine, we'll be there, but you're making a huge mistake. I didn't reply to any of them. I had 3 days to prepare. They had 3 days to come up with their story. But I had documents, dates, numbers, screenshots, public records they couldn't deny. I spent those 3 days organizing everything into a folder with tabs. Mortgage fraud, vacation spending, house, sale, image exclusion. Every section backed up with proof. Thursday night, my mother sent one final text. I hope you know what you're doing. You're about to destroy this family. I read it, put my phone down, went to bed. Friday, I packed the folder into my car, double-checked that I had copies of everything saved in 3 different places. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6, made coffee, got dressed, left Albany at 7, 3-hour drive south, same highway I'd driven the night of the anniversary party, same exit, same streets. But this time, I wasn't hoping to be let in. I was walking in with proof. I pulled into their driveway at 10:03 a.m. All 3 cars were there. I grabbed the folder and walked to the front door. My mother opened the door before I could knock. She was wearing jeans and a plain sweater, casual, but her face looked tense, controlled. Aaron, this really isn't necessary. It is, I said. We're talking. All 3 of you. Now. My father appeared behind her. Son, maybe we should do this another time when everyone's calmer. I held up the folder. I have the county refinance documents. I have the listing agreement. I have 3 years of bank statements showing every payment I sent. We're doing this now, or Monday morning I'm filing a fraud complaint and sending copies to every person who was at that anniversary party, including the Hendersons. My mother's face went pale. My father stepped back from the doorway. Come in, she said quietly. The living room looked staged, like they'd already started preparing the house for showings. Everything felt arranged, perfect, fake. They sat on the couch. I stayed standing, pulled the first document from the folder and set it on the coffee table between us. County property records. You refinanced the house 18 months ago. The original mortgage was paid off 2 years ago. Silence. I pulled out the next document, bank statement highlighted in yellow. I've sent you $47,200 over the past 3 years. You told me it was for the mortgage, property taxes, medical bills, emergencies. My father's hands folded in his lap. My mother stared at the wall behind me. I laid out the next set of papers, printed text messages. Here's you, Mom. The mortgage payment is short. If we don't cover it by Friday, we could lose the house. That text is dated 6 months after the refinance cleared the old loan. She frowned, but she said nothing. Next, the vacation photos, printed in color. And here's both of you on a beach in Florida. Resort, spa treatments, ocean view dining, posted 2 weeks after you texted me saying Dad's medication cost $400 and you couldn't afford it. My father looked away. Final document. The property listing with Charles's name circled in red ink. Now you're selling the house and moving to Florida permanently, and Charles is the listing agent, which means he's making roughly $18,000 in commission off a house I helped you keep for 3 years. The front door opened. Charles walked in, stopping the second he saw the papers spread across the table. "What's going on?" "Your commission paperwork," I said, not looking at him. "How much are you making off this sale?" He glanced at our parents, then back at me. "This is between you and them. You're the listing agent. You're in this." "It's my job, Aaron. It's just business." "Business," I repeated. "Is that what you called it when you told them I wasn't polished enough for the anniversary party?" His face flushed red. "I never said that. You told them I'd embarrass them in front of the Hendersons, that I didn't fit the image they were trying to build. That's why I got turned away at the door." My mother stood up, voice sharp and loud. "You want the truth, Aaron? Fine. Yes. We excluded you because you don't present the way we needed you to. The Hendersons are worth $15 million. They're connected to people who could actually change our lives. And you showed up in khakis and a sport coat like you were going to a backyard barbecue." The room went quiet. The mask had finally dropped. She kept going. "We've spent 3 years rebuilding our reputation, making the right connections. Charles helps with that. He networks. He brings value to the table. He makes us look successful. You? You send money and expect us to show you off like that's enough." My father spoke then, barely above a whisper. "We didn't think you'd find out about the refinance." "Find out you lied to me?" I said. "We didn't lie," my mother shot back. "We managed our finances the way we needed to. You don't get to audit us like we're criminals, Aaron. We're your parents." "You committed fraud," I said, calm and steady. "You took $47,000 under false pretenses. That's the definition." My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Bank alert notification on the screen. "Transaction attempt flagged. Shared account access denied due to insufficient authorization." I looked up at them. "Did one of you just try to withdraw money from an account right now?" My father's eyes went wide. My mother's expression gave her away. "You're trying to pull funds while we're sitting here having this conversation?" I actually laughed, short and sharp. "Even now? You can't help yourselves." My mother's voice rose again. "That money was set aside for the moving costs. We need it." "It's my money, from an account you said was for family emergencies. This is exactly what I'm talking about." I gathered the documents and stood up. "I'm done. No more payments. No more emergencies. No more pretending this was ever about family. You wanted me to fund your image while you kept me hidden in the background. That ends today." My mother stepped toward me. "If you walk out that door, don't bother coming back. And if you take this public, I will make sure every single person in this family knows you tried to destroy us over money." "Good," I said. "Let them ask why. I have receipts for everything." My father stood, desperation creeping into his voice. "The Hendersons might still come around if we can just—" "I don't care about the Hendersons," I said. "I care that you picked them over me, that you were embarrassed by your own son." Charles stood there with his arms crossed, silent now. I walked to the door. Nobody tried to stop me. Nobody apologized. Nobody asked me to stay. I got in my car and sat there for a moment, hands resting on the steering wheel. I started the engine and drove away. The first thing I did when I got home was block both my parents' numbers. Complete block. No calls, no texts, nothing. I left Charles unblocked. Part of me wanted to see if guilt would eventually surface, if he'd reach out and admit any part of what happened was wrong. 3 days passed. Nothing. On day 4, I opened my laptop and filed a formal complaint with the State Real Estate Licensing Board. The form asked for specific details about conflicts of interest. I wrote it out clearly. Listing: agent failed to disclose that the sellers had received $47,200 in financial support from a family member over 3 years for the property in question, and that same family member was excluded from family events while the funds were used for personal image expenses. Potential ethics violation regarding fiduciary duty and disclosure requirements. I attached the bank statements, the county records, and the text messages as supporting documents. Hit submit. 2 weeks later, I got a confirmation email. The board had opened an investigation. Charles's license was flagged for review pending the outcome. That same week, the county property website updated. I checked it out of habit now. The status had changed from sale pending to active listing, back on market. The sale had fallen through. I called a friend of mine who works in real estate and asked what usually causes a deal to collapse that quickly. Could be a bunch of things, she said. Failed inspection. Buyer couldn't get financing. Or sometimes the buyer's agent finds something in the public records or disclosure documents that raises red flags. Title issues, liens, legal complaints tied to the property. Stuff like that kills deals fast. The fraud complaint was public record now. Anyone doing their research would find it. The buyer's agent had clearly done theirs. Charles lost his commission. The house sat on the market. 3 weeks later, the price dropped by $25,000. Then another $30,000 2 weeks after that. Turned out motivated sellers with ethics investigations attached to their listing don't move property fast. My phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. When I checked it later, it was Aunt Linda. Aaron, I heard some things. Your mother said you accused them of fraud, that you're trying to sabotage their move. What's going on? I called her back. Did she tell you about the $47,000 I sent them over 3 years? I asked. Pause. What? Did she mention the refinance that paid off their mortgage 2 years ago, but she kept asking me for mortgage payments anyway? Longer pause. I sent her 3 screenshots. The county refinance document, a text from my mother saying the mortgage was overdue, a bank transfer showing I'd sent $2,100 6 months after the loan was cleared. Linda didn't respond for over an hour. Then, I had no idea. Turned out my mother had been telling extended family that I'd sabotaged their relationship with the Hendersons out of jealousy, that I couldn't handle them moving up in the world and wanted to drag them back down. But my cousin Jenny, Linda's daughter, started asking questions. She reached out to a few other relatives privately, and slowly, quietly, the real story started spreading. The Hendersons never called my parents back. I heard through Jenny that people connected to that level of wealth don't invest time or money in families with public fraud complaints and real estate ethics violations tied to their name. Image matters to them too. 3 months after the confrontation, my father called. Aaron, the medical bills are piling up. Charles can't help right now. His situation with the licensing board froze his commissions. Your mother won't ask, but I'm asking. We need you. Not, I'm sorry. Not, we were wrong. Not even, can we talk about what happened? Just, we need you. The same 3 words they'd used for 3 years. Except now they were stuck in a house that wouldn't sell. Charles couldn't bail them out, and the Hendersons had moved on. I saved the voicemail. Didn't respond. A week later, my mother posted on social media for the first time in months. Family is everything. Even in hard times, we remember who really cares. Grateful for the ones who stay. Within 30 minutes, someone commented, "Where's Aaron? Didn't he help you guys for years?" The post was deleted 10 minutes later. The perfect family image she'd spent 3 years of my money building had crumbled. And this time, there was no one left to fund putting it back together. I learned something in therapy that I didn't expect. Love without respect is just manipulation with softer lighting. They didn't exclude me because I wasn't family. They excluded me because I didn't make them look successful. I was good enough to fund their lifestyle, just not good enough to be seen living it with them. For 3 years, I believed that if I gave enough, stayed quiet enough, proved myself useful enough, I'd finally earn a place at their table. Turns out I was never supposed to sit there. I was just supposed to pay for it. I don't talk to my parents anymore. Haven't in 6 months. The house is still listed, now $55,000 below the original asking price. No buyers. Charles is working under a different brokerage while his license review continues. My mother stopped posting about family and blessings. And me? I'm sitting here on a quiet Saturday, putting money into savings that used to fund someone else's idea of success. I didn't get an apology, but I got something better. I got free. They told me family doesn't keep score. They were right. Family doesn't, but banks do. And I finally stopped being their ATM. I'm sharing this because someone out there is in the exact same situation right now. They're sending money, making excuses, believing that if they just help one more time, things will change. If that's you, leave a comment, even if it's just one word, because sometimes seeing your story in someone else's life is the only way to realize you're not helping. You're being used. And if this isn't you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You might be saving them years of regret. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe